Okay, all right. So, hi everyone. I'm Isaiah. Yeah, product design mentor basically, and I'll be taking some of the topics that we'll be covering for this track. So basically, what I'm doing today is just introduction to design. Some of you might be, familiar with some of what I'll be talking about today, and others might not. So, but it's just necessary that we do introduction. Um, so basically, I think I should just do a little bit talk about Slack and how we should do our communication. So, try as much as possible to adhere to like instructions. Try as much as possible to, basically when you get to a new space for the first time, you want to understand their rules and regulations so that you're not an offender, basically, if you go to a new country. So I think that should be our approach. Let's always look at rules and regulations. So just check, pin messages on every Slack channel that you join, so that's on that though. So let's get into what we have today. Introduction design first class. Okay, so in this track generally, so these are some of the stuff I will be covering. They are deep into it, but then this is just like an overboard. We have lots of UX design thinking, guide to using Figma basically, and plugins and so many stuff around Figma. We also have creating style guides. You would get to know about all of this stuff when you get there, conducting user research, prototyping in Figma, interaction design, and writing case studies, and all. So it'll be very interesting. Try as much as possible. If some would be videos, some would be live classes, just try as much as possible to get it, So that's that. Okay, so let's get into it. So UI UX design. So when you hear the term UI UX design, it's quite it's an acronym, and you definitely want to understand what's UI, what's UX. So UI basically is user interface, UX is user experience. For those that do not know, and basically it's like just designing digital products basically, for our scope, just like the interface for digital products, the experience also for digital products. So basically, it is designing products that are visually pleasing, like look good to you. When you visit websites, you're like, wow, the beautiful website looks good. And then your experience with trying to navigate around the website is actually interesting also. So that's just the work, UI UX designer. That's basically what UI UX design, basically means. Okay, so what's now the difference between UX and UI? I think if you are following me a little bit, you would get that they're not the same. So UI really relates to, designing the appearance, the way it looks like, your color, what color are you using, what font, what text, for example, are you using, and all of that. What you are seeing, is what UI design really is. UX design basically is why you are seeing what you're seeing. So basically, UX design goes into, like, let's say, into your thoughts, like asking question. If you want to do something on the screen, you're like, why exactly, why exactly are we doing it this way? Why exactly, is it happening this way? So basically, that's just like it though. So UX is at the back, like your thoughts are at the back, while UI design is like what you're seeing at the front, colors, images, everything you are seeing, yep. So that's for that. So that what's now the goal, what's the purpose of UX, user experience, what's the goal of like user experience, like what exactly was the point of user experience? Like, can't we just look at website and say, oh, the stuff looks good, then let's make it fly. So basically, like I was explaining much more further now. So user experience is basically, working on interactions, the flow, you want to do something. Let me now use an example. You're using a banking app, for example, and you want to make transfers, and then so what the work of user experience is to make sure that you finding, the button that says, you should send money, and then you putting in the account number and getting, the account details like bank of the person, putting the amount, all of those process, that way. They vary in different bank apps, and in some bank apps, they are much more easier to make use of than in some other bank apps. So what simply happened there is that the user experience for those ones that are much easy, those apps, those bank apps that are much easier, to you make transfer from, have a better user experience for transfer, than those ones that are difficult. So basically, it is just like you are solving experience problem, what people feel when making use of the platform. It's just like you're in a situation, for example, like you're using a site or you're using an app, and then you're trying to do something, and basically while trying to do something, you want to perform a certain task, that, oh, this stuff can do for you, or this product basically can do for you. And so you want to put certain tasks that this product can do for you. You know that this product can do it, for example, but then you are now searching and searching, and just searching, and you don't know where to maybe find that button or that action, or just stuff like that. So user experience is basically, when it's difficult for your user. The moment your user have to think twice, the moment your user have to wait, on how to perform a certain task. So that means for that particular thing, or for that particular function or functionality, and it's a bad UX. So basically, your UX, user experience design process would look like this. It's more like having so many ideas, scattered everywhere, and then you're trying to fix and fix and fix and put stuff together. So this is more like a physical, approach. So basically, this is what you have on this screen. Is a mirror board on this shot. So this is a mirror board. Basically, now we know that 90% of work is done online. Most of everyone works remotely now. So Miro is one very good to, for user experience design. So it's also, it works like the physical one. There are digital sticky notes also, where you just paste your ideas around, try to arrange them together. So, user experience is like a very rough process. It's not like you're putting buttons. It's not what you are seeing on your site. It's not the bot, it's not the text you are seeing on the home page, saving for all, like, or maybe money solution for Africa, or this. No, it's not all of this stuff. It is those things that make you decide that, okay, let's put this text, and make it colorable. It's those things that make you that help you make your decisions, in terms of UI and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, this is Figma. So this is like Figma, came quite after Miro, and it's been very interesting so far, personally for me. Okay, so so the user interface goals, I've explained a lot about UX. The UI one should be clear now. So for user interface, it is what you see. That's just like basically what you see on the app. You download the app, and then you see a splash screen, then you see an onboarding, whatever, like tell you this app you can transfer money from here to this app you can transfer money from blah blah and stuff like that. Just all those things you see on your screen. Then you see the home page, you see your wallet balance, you see all of those stuff. What you are seeing physically, that's like user interface. So basically, it is the main goal of UI is first off to interpret the solution to the user. That's like the major thing, but then also to help, just to add some aesthetics so that things won't be too boring, for the users. So that's just like basically it's what you see. So yeah, this is like quite sample. So this is onboarding screens, and that's like the landing page on the right. And so this is user interface, and then you would begin to, if it's a product, for example, like this one on the left, the kind of work that I've gone through, just to make certain decisions like win rewards, do notify, make it, those two short words and, a lot of mixes, that's, okay, I don't want to talk about that. So that's like some work, or that's some UX work actually, when we say win reward is like, the main reason why these words were shortened was to, make it clear and easy for, the user to understand. I mean, that's just basically, but then UI, user interface, is what you are seeing currently, on the screen. Yeah. So yeah, that's UI. Okay. So now UI UX designer goes like, where does it come to? That's why you see that UI and UX are like inseparable, because you're working on one thing. As you're starting out in your career, you can't say, I just want to be UX designer, or just want to be a UI designer. The industry does not really accommodate such, to be sincere, especially for junior roles. You hardly even see such. Okay, so so a final product, design basically is the combined work of UX and UI. First starting with UX, making sure that all of the experience are seamless, fantastic, wonderful, easy to navigate. The flow is nice. The users are not, stressed. There's a lot that goes into UX, to making sure that all of those things are achieved. And then UI is like beautiful designs, the final one that you've seen. So so that's the sum of UI and UX design. So basically, so that we can have a platform that is easy, for users to navigate, and yes, still looks very, very fantastic to them, basically. Okay, so then what is product design? I know that basically that's like what's been on our mind, maybe, in my opinion. So now what's the difference like between UI UX and then product design? So you see, product design now goes a little bit much further beyond the UI UX design. So when you're a product designer, you're working consistently to make product successful, and the success of a product, does not only depend on the design you do. It depends on the company, that owns the product. What's the goal of the product? What exactly, is the target for the product? Then also, the business goals of the company. There are certain features you drop because of business. There are even many times you ship very terrible designs. I mean, sorry to say that. So you're just starting out in design, but it's like the bitter truth that we experience in the industry. Designs you are paying, that is going live, but then there's nothing you can do for the moment because of business. You need to meet time. Developers don't have the strength to implement your jargons, and all of that. So product design is beyond UI UX now. It still has, you still do all your research, understand the user and all of that, and design solution for the user. But now you now have to think business, when you are doing your design. You now have to think, product when you are doing your design. So product designers really are designers that stays, working on products. So most of the times I always tell people, if you're freelancing really, and you're just designing stuff from idea to MVP, and that's your end of relationship with the client, really, you shouldn't call yourself a product designer. A product designer, even if you don't join the company at MVP stage, I think you join the product at several stages, market fit, maybe if it's MVP, fine. But then from MVP, you worked with the product till it attained market fit, made lots of changes and stuff, messed up the Figma board, arranged it again and all of that. And then for market fit, maybe you were with the product or with the company till scale or whatever is that. So product designers, think business in design, not just the product. It's not just about designing food UI and doing case study and posting on Twitter. You can design the home page of food UI in the space of the product. You can design the home page like 9 times, trying to find the perfect one that would make sure that it drives business. You want to make sure that people are able to order immediately. There are many things you will ask. There are many business questions you will ask yourself, when as a product designer. Okay, so that's the difference. So UI UX, you're just doing the design, understand the user. UX, do the research and all, do the UI, design the interface, submit. Product design, you're understanding the user, understanding the business, understanding the market, understand the space in which you are trying to solve. Make sure you are crafting out a solution that will drive business goals, increase revenue, and all of that. So that's like the difference between that. So basically, what you will be doing for now would still be UI UX design until maybe you get roles. So other design fields that exist, I wanted to go a little bit much wider on each of these, but then I just felt like there was no need to, except somebody is planning to run away from UI UX design. All right, so we have graphics designers. So I mean, I don't need to talk much. They've been around for quite a while. We have information designers, just telling that those guys are doing, do those infographics, and all of those stuff, just to make you understand something. They're like information designers. So we have experiential designers. So experiential designers are like most of like your interior designer guys, those guys that design, experiences like physical, spaces, and stuff like that. We have interaction designers. So interaction designers are basically, I mean, motion guys. Those guys do motion design, just all of those motion stuff, movement. Once you see a design that stops and moving, you are sure that it's not a video. And what I mean by a video is like, it's not like, it was not shot, it was something that was mastermind, was like done by someone basically. So motion, then that like it's interaction design. Then we have game designers. So game designers basically design interfaces for games, and lots of other things. Not too much, I don't know too much of that space, but I mean, that's just a sum of like other design fields. So let's talk a little bit about the UI UX design process. Short. It's actually very short. So this is just like, I just broke it down like into just three. So research and analysis, creating empathy maps, journey maps, experience maps. Don't worry yourself about all of these terms. You are going to have a special class, user research, So we have design stage, wireframes, prototypes, interface design. Don't worry yourself about each of these terms also. There'll be a class that will cover wireframes, prototypes, and even interface design. Validation, so basically user testing. So you'll cover all of these things, but this is just like the process. So one of the reasons why I really wanted to show you was because I need to get your mind prepared that the UX design process, as you can see, is not a straight one. It looks straight. I don't even like the way I drew it. I meant to mix these things. So basically, you empathize. Empathize is simply, trying to get into the shoes of your users, to solve their problem. Don't worry yourself too much. You would understand each of these things if you are finding it hard to catch up. The next thing is to define the problem. You empathize with the users, people facing the problem, define the problem, come up with solution, prototype, and test. So you can see that it's a forward backward not reaction. It's a forward backward, process. So meaning that it's not settled. I mean, you could jump from empathize to, you could jump back from ideate to empathizing back. You can be prototyping and that maybe you didn't empathize well, or you need to define and understand the problem more. I mean, things can just switch around. Sorry. Oh, okay. So things can just like switch, and stuff like that. Okay. So let me just round that up. So basically, this like the process, you will just basically be trying to understand the user, coming up with solution, testing the solution. If it work with the user, if it doesn't work, you go back to test, like that. It's just, logical. So tools used for UI UX design. For UX design, Figma. I showed you Figma. I showed you Miro also. Like the interface. So we have Mural, Google Forms. This is just, very little. We have lots of tools, even in terms of wireframing, Whimsical, and many other tools like that. I don't want to bore you with tools for everybody. Someone can start downloading, all of the tools there. So for UI design, Figma, sure, our best friend, Adobe XD, if you like, then Sketch, maybe. So, but majorly, everyone should have Figma now. So we'll be using Figma, for this training. Okay, so for prototyping, we have InVision, Figma, and Protopie. I think basically for the prototyping for this, Figma does quite a lot, in prototyping, not very satisfactory still, but then they do quite a lot. So we'll be using Figma, so that won't get you to start learning a new tool, in a short while, 3 months. But you might just want to take note of these ones. So you might want to learn them on your own, maybe after the training. Okay, so opportunities for UI UX designers. So I just got these shots from, I think this is Space Scale and this Glass, no, so it's Glassdoor and this Space Scale, left, right. So the salary for UI UX designers, before, when I see stuff on Glassdoor and stuff like that, I used to think they are, always lying, but it's actually the truth. Although, might not be, this is an average. An average means that it could be lesser, it could be more, and stuff like that. So basically, there's opportunities. That's just the whole point of this. It's not to draw your eye, to the money, but then there are opportunities. I know someone who did Zuri last year. I mean, he started designing, last year with Zuri, and now, as of today, he works with a Web3 company in the US remotely, earning, I think, over $2K per month. Yeah. So basically, you just need to focus on your craft. Focus on your craft. Make sure that you are good. Beat yourself beyond normal. You might need to do sleepless nights. You begin to even you notice that some of the things you will find doing, like, don't take you so much time to do. Like some of those things that will take you time to do now, you notice that they won't when you are, much more consistent, familiar with it. So you'll just be learning how to use Figma. At the same time, you just be learning how to do design. I mean, I know it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough. Make YouTube your friend. It's not every little thing you disturb mentors. I mean, 7,000, that's crazy. So make YouTube your friend. Meet with people, connect with people, ask people questions. On the channel, like, or send DMs to people they've completed their tasks. Just strive to make sure that you are better than you were last week. Is that simple. Progress doesn't have to be, you can't become a senior designer in 3 months. We won't promise you that. You might not even be a solid junior designer in 3 months. That's the truth. But the truth of the matter is that if you take, all of these learnings we are giving you and you continue with it, you are definitely going to become better than you can even imagine. Don't look at the end, just look at the process. Make sure you want to be better than you were last week. Last week, you were struggling with profile card. Some of you, after profile card, you just left Figma and went to sleep, and you want to become the best UI UX designer in Nigeria, or you want to become a senior UI UX designer by December, maybe, I don't know. So, but after profile card tax, you went to sleep. I wonder how that is going to happen. I mean, I even expected people, you should start dropping some crazy stuff you've done. You just went to dribble, you picked the landing page design, you just did it. These are the way most of us moved. When we learned product design, basically, there were not trainings that much, it was just you learning on your own. You carry and go and post rubbish on Twitter, and stuff like that. You just keep evolving and evolving. So every night once you finish, this is the way it was basically for me. Once I'm done with one nonsense rubbish design I was doing, I was using XD when I started. I want to do the next one. I mean, was that crazy? Once I'm done with this one, I want to look for another one to do. Even before I finish this one, I'm already searching dribble for the next one I will do that will not be too hard, but will make sense. That when people see it on Twitter, be like, hey man, even though I knew I was doing, now I know all those things were nonsense, I can't even look at them again, but the thing is that I always wanted to do, and basically most of the people I've seen become very good in this field, they always want to do. So you can't just do one tax, and go and relax. This 3 months, some of you, the only thing you'll be doing is the tax. It's not bad, it would help you to learn, sure, but then go beyond what we are giving you here. That's the truth. Go beyond what you are getting here. So don't just say, I've done my tax, then sit down, come and be flexing the Slack channel. Okay, who has problem? Let me solve it for you, and all of those stuff. They are good. I mean, if you have the time, you help people, but focus on yourself, become very good, when you can, render help to people, and that's just like basically it. So don't be lazy, I mean, it's not the news that you can't even get anything out of life if you are lazy. There'll be sleepless nights. By the time you guys get getting into core, based on the tax we have put down, in the course of the coming weeks, I know you will face lots of sleepless nights, and you will give us a lot of sleepless nights, grading the work. So, but then we are ready to do it as long as you guys create something good. I'll feel very bad if I grade 10 and I'm like, what the hell are these people doing? Really. So you should put in your best, to every task you are giving, put in your best to every task that you'll be submitting. When you submit, you know that I have done my best, not, well, let me just push it there. The moment you are doing that, you definitely don't want to become a good designer, So I think too much of perspire talk. So, yep, I think that's it. And questions. I don't know how we're even going to take questions now. We're going to be picking them from YouTube. How are we going to get the questions? I think they'll be dropping them on YouTube. Anyone want to help? I don't know how we do that.
Okay, let us check. Let us check YouTube for questions.
Okay. Okay, there's a question. What makes Figma important? What makes Figma important? So there's just like I showed you, there's a lot of design tools that we could make use of, XD, Sketch, aside Figma. So Figma is a very good tool because their updates are very human. Figma is a design software company, and their updates are like very relatable to us. When you've been trying, different ways to achieve certain things, and then the developers or the builders of the tool ships, that thing as, a much more easier solution. So Figma is listening to us, based on what we want to do on Figma. So basically, and they are building it into the software, so that's why Figma is very important. Like, you check, Figma is like, making life easy. The community is like the most, that's like the best resource, basically for design inspirations, want to make things very fast. I remember I was designing a dashboard, for a DX, a decentralized exchange platform, and I just went on Figma, and wonderful, one of our designers here in Nigeria, it's already created, the candle, whatever. I've forgotten the name of that stuff, just that checks, that help you check trades. Those that are into crypto and all of that. My own point is that he was doing a project that needed him to do that. He didn't find it on the community. He designed it from scratch. He kept it on the community. And I was doing a project, and I felt like designing this stuff from scratch is going to be a lot of work. And I just went to the community, found out that, it was even someone I knew, and then I just picked it and made use of it. So yeah, the community. I think I need to be fast because questions are much. Okay. What is prototyping? Okay, so prototyping is how do I put it now? It's like interactions. Yes, interactions for your designs, for just to test your design before they take it to development. Login, how the login will show when it's filled with content. So you press the login button. Don't get yourself too much overwhelmed. You can really just search Google. Or just check on prototyping for product design or UIUX design, but then we're going to cover it also. Can we work with Fireworks design tools? I don't know what that is, but I know it's no. We are working with Figma, actually. Is game design not part of product design? Oh, well, game design, games are products, actually, but for the scope of what we are covering, we won't be covering game design. What's the difference between Figma and FigJam? So Figma is for your UI design, FigJam is for your UX design. Can you export your designs from XD to Figma? XD to Figma. Yeah. So there is this, should I call it plugin that someone built? I think I wanted to do that sometimes this year, for a particular project. So there's a plugin that someone built, but I think it's premium. You have to pay for it. So, but normally you can't, like, there's no way you can do that. Even if you save XD file, open a Figma, it will work. Okay, what's the difference between UI, UX, and web design? Okay, web design, by what I know, web design by what I know, it's like maybe this WordPress design or like just designing things without coding, maybe. So that's just what I know as like web design. So it's different actually because in UI UX design, we are dealing with both product and website and all like that, but we are putting a lot of thoughts into it. Your web design is going to go live like the moment the guy finish designing your web, you have a domain name you can check it on. The moment we finish UI UX work, there's no domain name, you still have to hand over to developers. Can we have a WhatsApp group chat? No. Can you send us the slide of this class and the subsequent ones? I don't know if the slide of this class is important, but if you want, sure, it can be made available. Subsequent ones, definitely you would get that. What is the difference between using Figma and Adobe X, which is better? I just explained that community. Figma updates are quite very interesting. Figma is better for me. You'll find people who say Adobe X is better. I don't know. Would you say Figma is easier to use to Adobe XD? Are they complementary to each other? No, complement. I mean, they are like two different softwares you can use, but Figma is better, easier, maybe. Does product design only cover digital products? No, fantastic question. Product design doesn't only cover digital products, but for the scope of the training, it would be digital products that will be covering, and not others, digital products. But it doesn't only cover digital products. I mean, is motion design, interaction design same as AR, VR design? No, they are not the same. Motion design, interactions are not the same as AR, VR. But in AR, VR, you would have motion. You could have motion and interaction also. AR and VR is like a different space. And entirely, or not entirely. But then it's a different space. That does a lot with perspective. Yeah, interactive design like animations. Animations. Yeah, I would say partially, not fully. I don't know. Is there any mentor that wants to say something on interactive design, and animations, or maybe do we have? I don't know. I think we have some mentors who are good with motion here. Maybe anyone want to share their thoughts? You can just unmute and talk. I don't know. Is there anyone? Yeah, sure. Lloyd, go ahead. Like just unmute and talk now. Normal.
All right, so interaction design or motion design, it's basically just how people interact with your design. It starts with how people interact with your design in the sense that for physical products, how do people use this product physically? How do they touch it? How do they hold it? How do they handle it? Let's use maybe something like earbuds for an example. Earbuds, there are different kind of earbuds on market now with different shapes, different sizes, different dimensions, and people interact with them differently. There are some that people put inside their ears in a different way other than others. So interaction designers would actually check how would people interact with this product, how would people use this product, what is the way people would use to interact with this product. And when it comes to digital products, when you go to a website, interaction designers would actually check, what's supposed to happen when people are over on this button? Are they supposed to see something? How do they interact with it? What do they do in that sense? So it's just basically moving from how people interact with the product to now building up the experience of them interacting with that product. So if I think of, how will people, would I say, respond to a comment? What would they need to respond to a comment? Then I say, let me put a comment box there for them to respond, type in their comments in. Then when they come on comment box, how do they know that it is working? Then I start maybe in my design, start animating that, illustrating that, doing the motion from where you would actually click to how it's going to show you that, okay, this is working and you can type inside. So all of those actually is about interaction design. And I think down the line in the course, you'd actually get to learn more about interaction design and how you can do it. So there's also prototyping embedded in it. So you will learn that along to the course.
Okay, yeah, thanks so much, Lloyd. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, is this a training or an internship? Can we put it as a CV experience? Is a training, I mean, there's going to be a project phase. that looks almost like an internship. Maybe I know quite a lot of people that kept it as experience, from last year. So you just have to describe it well. That's like to you. Where can we find design tags that we can practice? Design tags. By design tags, are you saying UX or UI? So when you want to practice UI, at the start of your career, basically, I just tell people to go and, redesign stuffs they find on Dribble or anything you find online, But then design tags, basically, you want to do something that you can add to your portfolio. So you want to do something you can write a case study on. So think of a random idea, like just think of a random idea, or think of an existing idea. It could be a fintech, anything. Just think of something and then, and work with. What's really the difference between UI and UX? Oh, that means this person mustn't really have been clear with my explanation. I'll just use a line of sentence. UI, is designing what you see. UX is designing the experience or what you feel. Feel. UI is what you see. UX is like what you feel. I'm going to use Figma for all our designs. Yes, we are going to use Figma. When we copy a design for practice and repost, isn't that copy valuation? Make sure to always how do they call it? Can someone help me? Like, just like when you redesign something, redesign someone's design, you find it on Dribble, put reference, if you're posting it online, I'm not saying you should redesign someone's stuff and go and put it on your portfolio, basically, I'm just saying, redesign. Basically, what you want to have on your portfolio, even case studies, not just shots of UI, but then you can have it on, Dribble and stuff like that. At least try and change some things, colors, don't, and font and stuff like that. But make sure to, endorse whosoever you got the design from. Just add the link to the Dribble, and let it be known that, you, before the person come and hold you. Yes, you should do that. What are some YouTube channels you recommend to follow to learn Figma or design in general? Really, there are lots of YouTube channels. I mean, Zuri YouTube channels on. There are many other YouTube channels. I don't want to be biased. I have personal ones that I use, but then you can also, just check. I think the Figma YouTube channel is also very fantastic. I think there's this guy, Misko. Misko is also very fantastic also, and there are many people also, doing stuff, yeah. So what's the main difference between you? I'm not answering this question again. Are there set down universal rules to following design stuff like profile card or landing page, or we are free to do it any way we please? I don't even know how to answer this question. You're a designer. I mean, you can't be creative, but then you should make sure that you're not breaking design rules, typography rules. You're making sure you're not breaking color rules, making sure you're not breaking alignment rules, basic design rules. I mean, you learn all of this stuff, color, typography, in the class. So I mean, when you go through these classes, it will help you shape how you design. Even though you won't be creative, you still be, in check. Must a UI designer be a UX designer? Because from what you define, they have two different functions. Must we focus on them both to be successful product designers? Okay, I like any mentor want to say something on this, like this question particularly. Product design, UI, UX design, must you be either of the two, or must you be, or can you just be one? Anybody? Anybody? Sure, Tiwa, go ahead.
Can I? Okay. All right. So I feel like as designers, as UI UX designers, as product designers, whatever it is, when you're working on a project, the main purpose of that project is for the product to make money. It's a business, obviously, and every business needs to make revenue, right? So I think as a designer, while putting the users in mind, you still have to put the product and the business in mind too. So UI, UX, product design, you guys are basically doing the same thing, because you have to put both the users and the product in mind while designing.
Yeah. Perfect. Because even as UI designers, I mean, you have to even put, the users in mind when you are creating UI elements like the interface. So don't separate, just be the two and move to product design. Actually, you should even be the two actually. So if you don't have a laptop, is it still possible for you to copy UIUX design? What's the minimum system requirement to install the above tools on the laptop? If you don't have a laptop, it'll be very difficult to cope, except you have a pad or a tab that you could also use for that purpose. System requirement, I don't even know system requirement for Figma, but I think if you have a 4 gig RAM Windows PC with I don't know, maybe it's 256 gig. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe 250 or 500 gig, hard drive space, and maybe with a, I think with a Core i3, I don't know if you even need up to Core i3, I don't know. You may not need up to Core i3, for system spec. Maybe a dual core might do, but you might just need to, focus on Figma whenever it is Figma you're working on. Yeah. So, but you can't really cope without a laptop, or something similar, actually. You could also borrow, from friends and people. Yeah, lots of people do that. So, are we going to be working with motion graphics in our upcoming tasks? No motion graphics. Thank you. How are we going to be a good product designer, I assume, without knowing how to design using Photoshop? Oh, okay. So you don't need to be a graphic designer to be a product designer. If you were a graphic designer, it's nice, it's good, but just leave all of those magic you guys used to do there and come and learn process. I know graphic design, basically, the work there is in the thinking and concepts, but it's not really about concepts in product design, it's about process. So you don't need to know Photoshop, actually. So can we say that UI design is based on aesthetics, while UI is based on functionality? Functionality, no, not functionality. UI, yes, correct. Aesthetics, maybe. Yes, actually. UX design, not functionality, but experience. Like the feel, what design niche are lucrative? I think I would need like much more explanation on this question. Basically, you might, every design niche is like, fantastic. If you do motion design, everything is really fantastic, to be sincere. Designers are like crazy people because we always come up with new stuffs, so product design is also like, very fantastic. So I don't really get the question, all of them, if that would answer your question. It's supposed to add color to a frame after inserting shapes and text. You will learn this when you're learning how to use Figma. Can you explain wireframing? Wireframing is just like skeleton sketch, like skeleton, okay. Does anyone of mentor want to explain like more wireframing? I think I didn't even do justice to that while I was explaining. Anybody want to go wireframing? So you just unmute yourself and like just talk. Anybody? Nobody. Okay. So basically, wireframing, it's like, sketches. Either you're sketching with your pen or sketching digitally. So basically, you're just like helping. The reason for wireframing is to help you bring down your ideas into layouts. You want to have layout of how it should look. The image should be here. Then we should have some text here. Then we should have button here. Then we should have this year. It's more like layout. You are just drawing out layout. You are mapping out layout. So that's like what wireframe is, without focusing on colors and anything. Just like plain sketches. Do you need to have knowledge of coding? No, you don't need to. Where can we put the design we have made for public viewing apart from social media? What's Dribble? Dribble, okay, dribble.com. So Dribble is like a site. You should have a Dribble page, actually. So basically, Dribble is a site where you can find design inspirations, at least for now. And then it's also a place where you can post your own designs, and then it's some clients request for your Dribble, account or your Dribble link, Dribble profile, just to see your designs. You post your designs there, and then you really won't get feedback from Dribble. Really, it's not really social. It's just like a dump site for design. That's what I like to see it as. Okay, so if product design isn't only about digital products, what other products are involved? Physical products, actually. Yes, physical products. A design system, design the same thing as design process. No, they are not the same thing. Design system is like a bedrock. So design system is like a foundation for all of your designs, in a particular space. You are designing a particular app, or there's an app and a web, version, a web and an app, and then so a design system basically just like the bedrock, it guides your design. So a design process is how you execute, your design basically. So as tech newbie with basic knowledge of UI, what's the next best to add to previous knowledge, product design or full stack? As a technical basic knowledge of UI. Oh, so the full stack is actually coding. So if you want to code, then there. But if you say you have knowledge in UI, I think you should just do product design, in my opinion, though. Should we install Figma on our PC? Install it on your PC, please. What design niche is best when starting out? When starting out, I mean, you're already in product design. I don't know. When starting out, you can start from anywhere. Basically, I know people started from motion design. People started from game design. You can start from anywhere. Best, I don't know how to answer that. Can we use our tags during the training for our portfolio? Sure, why not? Why not? It's your work. Can you give an example of a case study? I don't understand. You will learn that actually. Yeah. So a case study is just basically, writing your design process out for somebody, in the public to understand. As a UI/UX designer, must you know how to code? I've answered that. You don't need to. Please, I have been trying to install Figma desktop app, but all to no avail. How do I go about it? I really don't know what your challenge is. Maybe you can post in the channel and people can help out, or I can help out. Is it okay to be more interested in UI design aspect than UX? Yes, it's okay, but make sure you don't neglect UX design. Personally, for me, I'm more interested in UX design than UI design, but that doesn't mean that my UI designs are shitty. I even do extra work. When I'm doing UI work, like I spend more time, to make sure that this thing actually makes sense, because I notice myself, the moment I have a pattern in my head, I'm always fighting with my design manager, like, why can't we just do it this way? But then she's always insisting, like, come up with something different. And once you mention come up with something different, I just open a new Figma page, basically blank, and I don't even check what we have done before, and I just try to do everything from scratch, again. So yeah, so that's that. What role does design story and design thinking play? It just helps you to design better, it just helps you to refine your thinking, for design. There'll be a design thinking class this week, so you will learn more about that. Are we actually training to be UI designer or UX designer? Both, actually, both. Yes. Okay, last question. You can begin to round up now. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay, yeah, so bring your questions to the channel. Yeah, so that's it. So that's it for today. And I really hope that we've really gotten full understanding. If you have not, Google is your friend, YouTube is your friend, UI/UX design everywhere, basically. It's quite nice that we have someone. It's quite nice that we have, a training like this, that can help you, jumpstart, kickstart, get started, So in the coming weeks, it's going to be interesting. Even the coming days. Tomorrow is laws of UX. And Tiwa will be taking laws of UX. It's a very, very interesting, it's a very, very interesting topic. One that is going to really, talk to your brain, on how you think, about design. And then we'll be following it up on Thursday with design thinking. So it's really packed up. This is not really all that regular, like you would see, like you're not just jump starting into design, go on Figma. No, we are making sure that your mind is harmed with design thinking, before you go on to designing itself, so that you know how to approach stuffs. So we'll have tags. The tags are really going to be interesting ones, if you want them to be, but they would be, sincerely, they would be. So you would, some of the tags you would be doing, there's going to be a project phase, a mid-project phase, so where you would be working on things from yourself based on all that you have learned. You'll be designing a landing page, you'll be designing a product page, you'll be designing onboarding, splash screen onboarding and authentication for an app. And then even at the end, you'll be doing a full-blown project that we will convert into a case study. So if by the end of, this training, you would have one case study in your portfolio, like you can look at that makes sense, basically. So just put in the good work. It's your portfolio, it's your case study, it's your work, so make sure you are learning well so that by that time you're not trying to, put everything together. So some of the tasks, like the task for tomorrow, basically it's just going to test your knowledge on, laws of UX. Basically, the task for design thinking is going to test your thinking, how well you understand design thinking first, and then how well you can apply design thinking to your immediate environment. Those tasks are very, very interesting ones, to be very sincere. They are not really regular, and they are not all that about design tools. But then by next week, when we get into design tools, you'll be getting introduction to Figma from a very fantastic, tutor. You would learn about Figma plugins, Figma communities, how to navigate your way, around Figma. Basically, you'll be able to access the videos always, and then, yeah, so that's it for that. So I want to say a very big thank you for everyone that stayed till the end, from beginning to start to finish. And then do well to subscribe to Izuri YouTube channel. I don't know how to do that, but then do well to subscribe. Yeah, it doesn't bite, just subscribe. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow in tomorrow's class, Laws of UX. Yeah. And thank you, coordinator, for helping us hiring this. Okay. Yeah, I'm done.
Is that all?
Yes, yes, yes.
Come on. We have work. Oh. Hmm? Where?